I love the first Dark Souls. As it's become one of my new favorite games, I still need to get around to playing DS3 and Bloodborne. But first, Dark Souls 1. Now, for all the things I love about Dark Souls, one thing has never been quite satisfactory. Class build. Yes, you can get a plethora of weapons, but a lot of them are just reskinned weapons, weapons with slightly different stats, or weapons with certain effects. Now, Dark Souls 2, while I've never hated myself more while playing a video game, did fix this. But what I'm talking about today is adding brand new classes, items, weapons, and spells to Dark Souls 1 with a remake, another sequel, or even some sort of spiritual successor. Without further ado, let's get in with number 5. Number 5. This one would be incredibly difficult to integrate into the game, but I'm going to offer the idea anyway. The shapeshifter, or perhaps the Druid, would have immediate access only to the dagger and the cracked round shield, but would acquire a transformative spell which would be activated by a new thing in the weapon slot, like the Catalyst or Pyromancy Flame. What kind of transformations would there be? I'm glad you asked me, because I have a few ideas, all of which are based on animals mentioned or encountered in the game. Like the rings that signified the Knights of Gwyn, the wolf, lion, hornet, and hawk. Obviously they know of snakes through the covetous serpent rings. How about the undead peddler, if that's what you call him, who mentions a bull demon and a goat demon? Those are just a few examples. How these spells would work is there would be one use between bonfires and they would transform the player completely, offering a new moveset and giving attribute bonuses based on which ones you transformed into. No, I don't think this idea would ever come into fruition, but it'd be freaking sweet if it did. Number 4. This one is kind of interesting, as it would trivialize many NPCs and make the early game a bit easier. The Blacksmith would start out with a simple hammer or something, and would have high endurance and strength, with low in just about everything else. He would also start with all the smith boxes and the repair box, which sure wouldn't really matter eventually because those are cheap, but he'd start with an item introduced because of this brand new class, the Ascension Smith Box. Basically, you would never have to travel to ascend your weapons, and you could acquire lightning and boss weapons before Anor Londo if you have the means. It would also make it to where you could keep the embers you find and use them yourself. This item would be ridiculous, I hear you cry, but no, I think it would just make the game utilize less running around. Now, with this rare and expensive item, if you didn't choose the Blacksmith, you don't have to say, "Oh, let me go to the Undead Parish and have Andre boost my thing to +10 so I can just take it to the giant blacksmith and have him upgrade it to a boss weapon." You can say, "Cool, I got Quelaag's soul. Let me go to the nearest bonfire and get the Fury Sword." It would also revolutionize DS1 speedrunning. Number 3. How many weapons in Dark Souls are there that can rack up combos well? Not actually as many as you think, because most rely on staggering an enemy until your next hit can land. So instead, I want to offer up the idea of quick, low-stagger combo weapons in the form of the bowstaff. For the uninitiated, the bowstaff is a pole between 4 to 6 feet long, typically made of wood or metal. The weapon is the favorite of Keelik from the Soul Calibur series and is typically used to land attacks in quick and precise succession and to control the opponent. There are 0 weapons in Dark Souls that let you do stuff like that, and adding in this type of weapon would not only make it one of the hardest in the game to master, it would be the fastest and most aggressive, requiring you always be pretty much on top of the enemy. Of course, we could always build a starting class around this. The monk would start with high dexterity and vitality, a staff, and little armor. Number 2. This one may be difficult to pull off, but a Conjurer might be interesting. Yes, we'd add an entire new set of magic spells which, instead of running off of uses like magic, runs off of souls. You can summon yourself an army or even big creatures with the proper spells, all while spending souls in order to get them. That soul's cost is determined by how many souls the enemy gives when it is killed. Want a dinky hollow? 24 souls. Want a hollowed soldier? 100 souls, give or take. Want a drake? About 1,000 souls. The cost would also scale with items. Wearing the covetous gold serpent ring? What? Wearing the covetous silver serpent ring? Gonna cost extra. Are you in New Game Plus? It scales with that too. This would obviously need more refining than what I've offered, but I think this could be the basis for a decent idea. Number 1! If you didn't see my video on Things to Punch in Oblivion, well, go watch that. But only after this. Here's the thing. I'm the kind of guy that wants to say, yeah, I punched Manus, father of the Abyss, until he died. The truth is, though, fist weapons are not viable in Dark Souls 1. They exist, but they're scarce and fiercely outshined by every single other weapon type in the game, both in speed and power. Your bare fists don't scale with strength, which they should anyway. The Caestus is useless and only seems to serve the purpose of adding elements to your punch. The claws are worthless compared to most other dex weapons. The Dark Hand is impossible to get without spending a lot of time giving humanity to Darkstalker Koth. The Dragon Bone Fist is the best of the bunch, but weighs 8 units and isn't that great in terms of damage in the long run, even though it can scale with an S in strength if you boost it. Fix number 1. Make Brawler a starting class. Fix 2. Boost the power of bare fists and give them a boost of B with strength. Fix 3. Knuckles. Any kind of knuckles. Brass knuckles, iron knuckles, magic knuckles, fire knuckles, any kind of knuckles. Fix 4. Apply new movesets to different fist weapons. Fix 5. Add rings and armors that accommodate for this playstyle. I can't be the only one who thinks this, right? I'm not even saying you should make it a great option, but at least make it a viable option. And a starting class. Why not? Start the player off with nothing except their bare fists if they choose the Brawler, and don't give a shield. Seems an easy enough solution to me. Do you have any ideas? Sound off in the comments. I'd love to hear these things. Maybe we can all band together and petition FromSoft to patch it in, eh? A little side note, where this is my first video in quite some time, I am back, and I'm just as pumped as always to get stuff out for y'all. As always, I'll see y'all next time.